Hey guys, Metal Jesus here. I have another Patreon question. This one comes from my Discord server. A lot of people were talking about this and wanted to know the answer. And that is, what are some great games that were almost completely ruined by bad graphics? So many great options here, and to help me answer this, I have assembled the Metal Jesus crew, and we're going to start with Kelsey, who has... hers is controversial.
Final Fantasy VII is a really great game, but it has aged really terribly with its graphics. So everyone's walking around with hooves for hands and looking like blocky balloon animals, and it just kind of takes you out of it. It doesn't make you really take the story seriously as much as you would like to. And the pre-rendered backgrounds look kind of awkward against these weird 3D models. I don't know. I know when our TVs were smaller and we were all excited about 3D graphics, it was a little different, but they probably should have stuck with sprites for one more year. Hopefully the remake will fix all that.
Alright guys, so my game choice is going to be a game you probably haven't heard of. It's even though the game has some of the worst graphics ever, I found a way to like the game, and that game is going to be for the PS1, and that is Shadow Madness. Now Shadow Madness is a turn-based RPG. The developers at the time, they were going for a Final Fantasy VII look, and this was between 98 and 99, so Final Fantasy VII had already came out now. And at that time, you know, games were pretty much evolving very quickly, so trying to go for that look didn't really come out right for them, and the game just really looks kind of silly at some points. Now I do like some things like the backgrounds. Definitely the story is the highest point in this game. The gameplay could use a little tweaking, make it a little bit better. It was kind of simple, but a lot of people looked at the graphics in this game and they wanted the Final Fantasy VII look, but they just didn't get it down right at all. It looked pretty bland and horrible. I mean, it's just, I can't say enough about it. You know, I don't want to end this video on just the bad note of the game. The game is one of my favorite games, but the graphics might turn some people off, so.
Game ruined by bad graphics. For me, it's Deadly Towers for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I hate that game. You see the cover, it's amazing. It looks like something like Conan the Barbarian. And then you play the game, it's got cutesy graphics, terrible.
Now this is a fantastic question because everyone says, oh, graphics aren't everything. It's like, well, they don't hurt though. And one game that just cracked me up was WWF WrestleMania 2000 for the Nintendo 64. Now I'm a WWF fan, tried and true. I liked WCW, but I was a bigger fan of WWF at the time. But WCW had the Aki engine for the Nintendo 64 game, so you talk about like WCW versus NWO Revenge and stuff like that. Loved that game way more than the WWF games at the time, but when they decided to go with WWF, it was a dream come true. It's when you start playing the game though, and you look at it from a distance, and that's fine, you know, for the time and everything, 4 players, it was great. But when you're doing the Royal Rumble mode, and you see them running down to the ring, the camera zooms in right on their face, and their face is perma-stuck on, like, this, and that's all they look like. There is no facial reactions. They don't move. It's just a one solid picture. Like, they just scan their face and put that on the polygon. And it is hilarious. Like, The Rock has permanent eyebrow action going on. It was hard to take the game seriously, as fun as it was, and I still like it today. But you talk about great games that are ruined by bad graphics. That's one of those instances where, like, we're really getting into the action, and then another wrestler comes down to the ring and it zooms in on their face, and their face is just something like, man, we would lose it every single time. I'm gonna play that game right now just so I can remind myself how silly it looks.
So imagine you're in the arcade playing your favorite game, Donkey Kong, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, it came out on the Atari 2600 and I can play it at home! You get it, and you're like, yes, I got it! And then you put it in, and Donkey Kong is like a flat gingerbread man who's throwing weird honeycombs, and you're a block, and you have never seen a more disappointed person who has played Donkey Kong in the arcade and then plays it on the 2600.
A great video game that was ruined by bad graphics for me has to be Assassin's Creed Unity. I know this is known for having so many issues visually, but I played this game before the media started talking bad about it, and right away getting into the game, I noticed a million problems. My characters were laggy, things were glitchy, I was in places I shouldn't have been walking. I actually ended up only putting like 3 or 4 hours into the game because I had to stop because the game was ruined by bad graphics.
My answer to this question came to me immediately when I read it. No question, for me personally, that has to be Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. Now, this is a fairly notorious version of this game, and me personally, I remember vividly being in the 4th grade, and the Atari 2600, that was my jam. That was my favorite console. I loved it. I delivered a bunch of newspapers, earned some money so I could buy Pac-Man because I loved playing it in the arcades, brought it home, and was completely destroyed by how lame this game looks. Now, to be fair, over the years, we've now learned that the developer really had to make a lot of concessions to program the game to get it approved by Atari, to get it onto shelves in time. So, you know, over time as an adult, I understand, but man, back in the 4th grade, it really bummed me out. I just did not like how the ghost flickered, also the way that Pac-Man moved or didn't move. Also, frankly, the sound was terrible. It was just a really lame port of Pac-Man. It just didn't feel like anything like the awesome arcade version I was playing, you know, after school. So that's my answer, but I would love to know down in the comments, what are some great games that you think are pretty much ruined by bad graphics? So many you could choose from, like the N64 era, the PlayStation 1 era, the early PC era. Love to know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This question was asked by one of my Patreon contributors who helps support my YouTube channel and help shape the content of my videos. In addition to asking questions like this, they also get access to a private chat, an audio podcast, and early access to most of my Friday videos. You can also set the amount you want to contribute, and you can leave or change it at any time. If you'd like to help support my videos and become part of the Metal Militia, please go to patreon.com/MetalJesusRocks.